Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MeanGene Show here on iHeartRadio. Getting ready for Week 15 of the National Football League, and as you know, it got underway last night. But before I go any further, I have to introduce my guest. I told you he was going to be on the show today. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Pick, Jeff Lambert Sr. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, what's going on, man? My brother, what's happening, world? How y'all doing, man? On a cold day in Texas.
A cold day in Texas, and I mean, but you know what? It could be worse. We could be getting all of that crazy stuff over in the East Coast, man. It looks like they might have a white Christmas over there with all of that snow.
Hey, no doubt, man. It looks that way.
Well, hey, let's get this thing going, man. Last night, of course, the Week 15 got underway, and a pretty good damn game, for Thursday night football. It was the Chargers and the Raiders. Now, I had went out and put a video on social media, sort of, probably pissed off a lot of Raider fans, right? But I just kind of gave my opinion and what I thought would happen. Now, I didn't know the game would turn out the way it did, meaning I didn't know, Derek Carr was going to get hurt. But I just felt, Jeff, that, the Chargers didn't have nothing to play for. And the Raiders, it was just a setup. It was a perfect setup, right? They didn't have nothing to play for, and the Raiders knew they needed to win that game. But hey, in the end, it ended the way I pretty much thought it would, with Justin Herbert, the rookie, getting the win for the Chargers.
Hey, man, and as being in the profession that I'm in, with Pickett, I also went with the Chargers last night. Not just because I felt like the Raiders. It's one of these things, man. It's right now you got teams that's not really going anywhere or fighting for anything. They just fighting for the respect of the game. They going out with a bang. Like, hey, man, we beat a contender team for the playoffs. And it's just these teams are messing up guys' chances or pushing them back as far as they looking forward to the playoffs. And I went with the Chargers on this one, man. And then especially we had. It looked good because it was a shootout. I took the over in the game, and I also went with the Chargers because I felt like it was a one-sided thing in the beginning that the Chargers was just going to go and run through the defense of what the Raiders doesn't have to bring to the table. And, man, it kind of went that way because went to even boost it up higher when my guy got in there and stuff. They replaced Carr to get in there, and man, that game just went bonkers.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you what, Marcus Mariota, and I was on social media last night immediately after the game and just seeing the comments, man. There were questions about, is he the best backup quarterback in the NFL as of right now?
Well, I believe that he's going to be not only the best backup right now, I believe he's going to be the main guy for the Raiders, man, because the way he looks, man, I think at some point, Carr, you can see it on his face, like, man, they just put in my replacement.
Yeah, he did. He sure did, because look here. But this is one reason why Mariota looks so good, because he was a starting quarterback for several years up in Tennessee, and for whatever reason, when Mike Vrabel took over Tennessee, that style of offense he wanted to change. He brought in some changes. He wanted his own guy. Not saying Mariota wasn't a good quarterback. But hey, he landed in Southern California, man. I think the Raiders got a steal, but you can just see that the guy still knows the game, and he just made decisions that you don't normally see from a backup.
Correct. And he wanted to get in there, man. And when you sitting on the bench and being a backup, man, you're looking for that opportunity to come in and really show that, hey, I deserve to have my position back as a starting quarterback, if not with the Raiders, with somebody. And he made his debut. And on top of that, man, this guy, hey, I believe he earned that money for, what they was trying to give him. That
oh, yeah.
Do some things. He did it last night. He got that money.
He got that money last night. Some $300 and something $1,000, man. What a hell of a payday.
Hey, man, he had a mean payday.
Yeah, he did. Well, I tell you what, it did for the Raiders because now they dropped to 7-7, and they are on the bubble, so to speak, outside looking in. You know, a couple other things going to have to happen. The AFC wild card spots are going to be up for grabs, you know, and we're going to talk about a lot of games and the impact that some of these things might have. But the AFC is looking really, really interesting. And let's start with the first game. Oh, you know what? Before we get started, though, I want to kind of give a mention to Dustin Pfeiffer, who my co-host, who's been doing these countdown shows with me. Now, Dustin lost his grandmother about a week or so ago, and so he's been kind of dealing with grieving, with the family and stuff. So I just wanted to give a shout out, say our thoughts and prayers with the Dustin Pfeiffer and his family.
Exactly. Prayers out to Dustin. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
His family, man. It's always in prayer. Yes, sir.
Always. All right. So here we go. Let's start with the AFC. We're gonna start with the Buffalo Bills, 10-3 at the Denver Broncos. Buffalo Bills coming off a big win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. They just took care of business. I mean, they just went in there and did what they had to do. That quarterback Josh Allen is looking pretty good. Buffalo is kind of well balanced. They got somewhat of a good running game with Singletary and Stephon Diggs, the wide receiver who catches everything. But they're going to go to the Denver Broncos, and the Broncos with a 5-8 record, not going to make the playoffs. But that doesn't mean they're going to lay down and play dead either. So I'm going to say that Buffalo will win, but boy, I'm sure going to be rooting for the Broncos.
Yeah, man. Actually, I looked at that as Vegas got this game at Buffalo favored to win by 6 points. Minus 6 points, which is a close, game playing Denver. Denver's not just like I say, that's not a go away type of thing. But I'm gonna ride on the money line with Buffalo to, win this game. And I believe this game is not really just gonna be as high. We gotta realize a lot of this is teams that's knowing that they are going to the playoffs or whatever and playing against a team that's really not going anywhere. They fight to win. Both teams are really fighting to win. But I don't think they're really just getting out there where you're getting your guys hurt before the playoffs. We only got 3 games left before we enter the 2021 playoff, new year, so these guys are trying to kind of keep the main guys healthy. So yeah. I believe this game is going to go on to 49.
Okay. All right. Okay. Next game we have is the Carolina Panthers, 4-9 at the Green Bay Packers. Now, you know what? I got to back it up a little bit. And the game that we just mentioned, the Buffalo and Denver game, is a Saturday game. This is a Saturday game on the NFL Network, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's the Buffalo at Denver. And then the game that we're getting ready to pick here, the Carolina Panthers at the Green Bay Packers. That is also a Saturday game on the NFL Network, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. So let's go ahead. Hey, look, Aaron Rodgers is on fire. Now, here's another setup to me, Jeff, because Aaron Rodgers have just been playing flawless football. Can't find any errors, anything, Usually when that type of stuff happens, there's always a downfall. Now, not saying Green Bay's going to lose the game, but I'm saying that Aaron Rodgers may not have the perfect games that he's been having. Carolina doesn't have anything to play for. The Packers are going to be the number 1 seed, I think, depending on what New Orleans might do with KC this week. But I'm going to go with the Packers to win. I'm just thinking Aaron Rodgers may not have. I think the Panthers defense is going to get his attention.
Yeah, and I've looked at that and I've studied it. Like I say, man, it's just one of these teams that's not going anywhere. Like I say, a lot of this, man, I consider is almost like a trap game, in the end, or, just one of those games that, hey, man, these guys don't care. But Panthers, man. I've been rolling with my man, and I just think that is right now. Green Bay is favored to win by 9 points.
Okay.
I really, like I say, this week I'm putting a lot of on the money line for these teams to win. I'm not taking a lot of the points as far as, So, but I'm gonna go with Green Bay on this game. But I'm gonna go with the money line. I do it on the money line, and I think this game is also going to be one of those games that everybody thinking, hey man, Aaron Rodgers going to come in there and put up all these points and stuff, and right now they got him at 51 and a half, which means you got to be 52 points in order to go over. And I think that Green Bay, they're going to slow the roll a little bit, man. Everybody going to stack their money up on it, but I'm going on the under 51 and a half in this game, MJ.
Yeah, I agree with you because I think. I just think, he's been playing at a high level all year. Not saying, and I'm not taking anything away from Aaron Rodgers. He's a stud.
Exactly.
But I just think, I just think it's one of those games where he doesn't have to go out there and give it his all. And
exactly.
There's one name I'm going to mention. Watch this guy on Saturday. His name is Jeremy Chin. He's a rookie. And I guarantee you, people will be talking about him after this game. Aaron Rodgers might get to know him close and personal. This guy is pretty damn good. He's the safety for the Carolina Panthers. So the next game we have now we're into the Sunday game. So this is your first game kicking off 1 p.m. Eastern Time Sunday in Atlanta, Georgia. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 8-5 at the Atlanta Falcons. This is a division game between the Falcons and the Buccaneers. So everyone knows what's going on here. The Falcons is the worst team to play as far as, they will play spoilers. So this is a must win for Tom Brady. So I'm going to go with Tom Brady to win. But, man, I don't know. You know how I feel about the Atlanta Falcons and picking those boys.
Yeah, man, I do know that. I believe we're on the same boat, man. But like I tell people, man, I'm looking at this thing as a betting thing, and I always say Atlanta is one of those teams that'll come in and will just kind of just throw everything off in the end. They don't come in the beginning when you really need them.
Exactly.
They come in the end when you really don't want them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why it's scary to pick them.
But MeanGene, I'm gonna go right now. Vegas got this game in Tampa -6, favored to win by 6 points, and I just figure in the over and under is 49.5. I just think I'm gonna go with Atlanta to cover those 6 points. And I'm going to go with the over 49.5. I believe that's just one of those things that everybody figured we don't give up on Atlanta. Atlanta's going to always be Atlanta, which I feel like, but for some odd reason, this week, I just think Atlanta's going to cover those 6 points and going to come in. And Tom Brady is just something I believe is just, and they're kind of figuring this thing with Antonio Brown. I'm figuring somewhere somebody figured we were doing a lot better without him. And now that we got him, and I think they've limited his touches on this ball since they came back off this bye week. I've been noticing that, and it's been put out there too. That, I just don't think that Tampa's going to cover that 6 points, going to win by those 6 points. So I'm going to go with Atlanta.
Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned Antonio Brown because last week he had 5 receptions. They tried to get the ball to him, and I agree with you. I just think that here, and another thing about Tampa Bay, they actually have a running game, but they so dead set on passing that Ronald Jones is a hell of a running back. And then before Fournette got hurt, they have a damn good running game. They just will not give their running backs the ball. But when you got an Antonio Brown, a Chris Godwin, and a Mike Evans, and a Gronk, you can understand why they have to put the ball in the air. But that's the more reason why, those defenses are going after Brady. They figure we know you're going to pass. And so we're coming after you. But, hey, I hear you. And I want to pick Atlanta. I just don't want to be wrong at the end of the day.
I just think I'm going to go with them because the last game or so, they kind of been, showing up, putting up some numbers, and it's been close. So
Yeah.
I just think that I'm gonna take one more chance with Atlanta on the out, going on the out, because like I said, they really know they're not going up playoff. It's just the thing that we can just kind of mess up for other teams, past either a record or if they're not clinching already in the division. It's just we basically just think if you are in the division, we're messing up your record, so you won't have the best record or a close record to make it.
I feel you on that one. Hey, the next game, Jacksonville Jaguars 1-12. The only reason why we're not really talking about Jacksonville being as sorry as they are, because there's actually a team that's 0-13. But if there's one team that suck, and then there's the runner-up, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars at 1-12. They're going to be playing in Baltimore at the 8-5 Baltimore Ravens. Now, we mentioned earlier in the show about the weather. Now, I know a lot of these games are going to be impacted by that snowstorm because, unless it's just really, 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 really bad, the NFL is not going to cancel a game due to snowstorms. I mean, it might be an ugly game. You may not be able to see the field or the players, but they're going to play the game. So I don't know which games, I'm just thinking Maryland might be somewhere in the mix there. So this game is in Baltimore. The Ravens, hey, they pulled out a barn burner last week, man, against those Cleveland Browns, 47-42. They need to win. They have to pretty much win out in order to have a chance to get up there in that 7th or 6th seed or whichever wild card. I don't think they're going to go no higher than the 5 seed, but probably that 7 seed. That's the one that everyone thinks that they might have a chance to make it. So I'm going to say the Ravens are going to win this game no matter how bad the weather is.
Yeah, and I'm also looking at right now, they are favored to win by 13 points over Jacksonville.
Oh, my goodness.
And the over and under is 47.5. I'm going to go on the money. Like I say, this week is basically not a lot of teams taking the points because dealing with the weather and everything. I would basically put my money on the Ravens just to straight up win. I wouldn't take a lot of these points off. A lot of these points is what I'm looking at when we get to it. It's kind of like, man, outrageous. Like, wow. So I'm going to go on the money line with Baltimore to win this game, but I'm going to also go under at 47.5. Like I say, dealing with the weather and, it's just I'm going to roll with the under 47.5, and I say on the money line for the Baltimore Ravens to win. Not by the 13. I don't think they're going to just beat these guys unless they just really lay it down and nobody's caring. Because really, Jacksonville has nothing to care about anyway. They're fighting with the Jets for a first-round draft pick.
Yeah, they are. I know it, man. I tell you, crazy. But anyway, I'm looking at the weather forecast for Baltimore. Sunday, they got scattered showers, 40% chance of rain. So, at 45 degrees, so they probably won't have any snow. So that'll be okay then.
Yeah.
So that,
and like you say, you're not trying to get these guys are looking at Baltimore's got a straight out win to really just see some leeway. And you're not trying to get your main quarterback out there and you know what, he can take off running and everything. But with the way the weather is, man, you kind of have to keep your guys healthy just in case we get there. You don't want to be all banged up. And, so I think this is going to go under 47.5. They're going to fight to win, to keep, because like I said, they got to keep winning in order to make it.
Yeah, they got to keep winning.
Jacksonville has no care in the world about it. They don't even care. They just showing up to get paid for the day.
And that's what makes some of those teams scary, boy. You can't take them, take them lightly. So the next game we have is the San Francisco 49ers, 5-8 at the Dallas Cowboys, 4-9. Now, I'm going to go down memory lane a little bit. I remember back in the day, this used to be a hell of a matchup. When you had Joe Montana, Roger Staubach, you know what I'm talking about? We talking about back in the day. But now, both of these teams are going nowhere. It's just really shocking to see that the 49ers have fell from grace so fast, especially after being in the Super Bowl just, back in February. and they've suffered injuries, this, that, and the other. Still shocking to see them drop off so fast. But the Dallas Cowboys are not mathematically out of the playoffs yet. I don't see how they're going to get in though, because Washington beat them twice. So, and Washington has a 6-7 record. So I don't. I mean, Dallas won't get in. People are having false hopes out there. But who you think is going to win this game, though, Jeff? I'm going to let you pick first.
Hey, well, right now Vegas has this at 49ers coming into Dallas, man, favored to win by 3 points, which is not a whole lot. Dealing with a team, 49ers is 5-8 at this point, Dallas 4-9 at this point. And the over and under is 45. I think they're going to go over that 45 margin because, like I say, really, Dallas still feel like there may be a chance in getting in there. Maybe, even though they're not. But at the end of the day, they're really just fighting. Jerry, I think, at this point, man, a lot of teams really just kind of, we're going to make it look good, but we really just, hopefully, we don't really care because we want to, like, first, not just first round, because they're not going to get first. They're getting close, between fourth and fifth, in the fifth, at this point. And so that's what it's really looking like. We really don't, we don't want to show that we really don't want to win. So we're going to play this game. But I'm going to go with Dallas with the +3. They don't underdog. So I'm going to roll with the underdogs on this game. It's so close, and neither team really is showing no signs that we're going to a playoff. Got a playoff spot. So with Dallas being at home and 49ers coming to their house, they doing the traveling. And hey, I'm gonna roll with Dallas +3 over the 45.
Yeah, I think Dallas will get this game. But hey, how about this, man? Andy Dalton goes back to Cincinnati last week and beat the brakes off the Bengals 30-7. He's like, "Oh, you Mickey Ficky's gonna cut me?"
Exactly.
I'll show you what I got left. I mean, that was kind of crazy. I know there had to be some trash talking going on.
I kind of figured he was going to do it, man. I roll with Dalton. And it's always like that. When you play a team, get released from a team, man, and you looking forward, it's kind of like they just kind of wiped Dez Bryant. The game when Baltimore was to play Dallas the week prior.
Yeah.
35. This is Big Dez whole big thing. He wanted to go to a team that played Dallas. I mean, and he didn't do it. He got hurt in practice when he was with the Saints. So he didn't get his opportunity then.
Oh, Dez Bryant?
Yeah, he tried for 3 days when Baltimore gave him the opportunity because he felt like, man, I get a chance to play my own team this year. In 35 minutes before kickoff, they pulled the rug right off of under, and he was like, I'm quit. I can't never prove to Jerry that he shouldn't have never let me go. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
This thing kind of been a disaster for him. So, but it's one of those things, man, when you go. So I figured when Andy Dalton went to play at the Bengals, man, he was going to show up, man.
Yeah.
It's just one of the things y'all shouldn't have never let me go.
Yeah.
Because your quarterback, the person that you released me for, now you don't even have him. You just let Andy Dalton go all the way around, like you say. So it was one of the things I put the money on Dallas that week to beat Cincinnati. I mean, you got to beat Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Because for the simple fact, I didn't know they were gonna beat them that bad.
It was an interesting game, man. It was so funny. The next game we have is an AFC South matchup. It's the Houston Texans 4-9 at the Indianapolis Colts. Must-win game for Indianapolis because they're trying to, stay in that playoff picture. They're in there now, but man, the Houston Texans. I mean, these teams play each other a lot, and they have some good history with each other. The Texans, they lose to the Bears last week, 36-7. The Colts, big win over the Raiders last week, 44-27. And I know you're going to cover the spread thing on this because I'm interested in knowing what it is. But I want to say the Texans are going to go in there and upset them. But I'm going to go with the Texans on this. What you got?
Hey, we'll we're on board. We're on board together with this one, MeanGene. They are. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. The Texans right now, I mean, the Colts are favored to win by 7 points, and the over and under is 50 and a half.
Oh, wow.
On this game, MeanGene, I'm going with the upset as well. I'm rolling with the Texans plus the 7. And I'm also going to take this game to go. I think there's going to be some points put up in this game. But I think the Texans are going to come out. I don't think at some point, like you say, Texans being 4-9 right now and Colts 9-4 is just one of these things, man, that the week prior, if your team basically looks good so far at this point, what I'm looking at now, if your team put up mega numbers the week before or score high, I just think you're going to get a team that has nothing that they really fight for come in and show you. You still put those numbers up, but you're not going to beat us by what is market to beat us at this point. And I just think it's just going to be an upset that Texas is just going to win, this game.
I'm feeling that too, man, because unlike some of the other teams that we've talked about, with under 500 records, the Texans are they still not a sorry team. They just, it's been, sort of kind of crazy how their season has turned out, but they're not one of those teams that's just going to lay down. And I think they're going to go in there and definitely put up more than 7 points. And so it should be interesting to see. So, yeah, I like the Texans. The next game, we have AFC East Division matchup. This is the New England Patriots 6-7 at the 8-5 Miami Dolphins. Yes, I did say 8-5 Miami Dolphins, who are currently in the playoffs right now, if it was decided today. So Cam Newton's going to go down there and go up against Tua. So I tell you what, I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this one because the Dolphins, man, Brian Flores has this team playing great. I don't think they have no room, for error. Now, I know there's a lot of teams going to be rooting against them, mainly the Baltimore Ravens, right? But I think the Dolphins, I think they can hold off Cam and the Patriots.
Yeah, well, right now, a lot of these, and what we are looking at right now, because these games are basically, most of them from Saturday into Sunday, these games can change. The numbers on these can change, and I'm basing it on what Vegas has them sitting at right now. And the more money people put on these games, the odds of them changing. So we're basing this off of Friday morning, what Vegas have them sitting at right now.
Mm-hmm.
And as I looked at it from last night, and nothing really changed, from that point. But right now, Vegas has Dolphins only favored to win by 1.5 points. This game almost is kind of like semi as a hit 'em, almost,
Yeah.
And it's 1.5. Dolphins are the favorite, but MeanGene, I'm going to go with the Patriots on this the plus 1.5 at this point. As far as the win, I think they can go in there and, like you say, it's 6-7 at a 8-5 team. So I just don't see that, it'll help the Dolphins, but at some point, everybody thinking, Dolphins are a better team because they're looking at what Cam has been doing. But at the end of the day, man, I think Cam is going to probably just show up when he's most needed to win some games. And I think he's going to show up in the over and under is 41.5. I think this game is going to go over on this one. And I just think, hey man, they got the Dolphins number. I just think they got the Dolphins number to cover that 1.5 at this point.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that close. So that's quite interesting. Yeah. So all right, we'll see what happens on Sunday with that one. The next game, we have a lot of division games on week 15. The Chicago Bears 6-7 at the Minnesota Vikings, also 6-7. Both of these teams have their eye on a playoff spot, and that's mainly going to decide depending on what the Arizona Cardinals do this week. But both the Bears and the Vikings are trying to get in that NFC North, and this is an NFC North game here. I like the Vikings in this game. I just think they lose to Tampa Bay last week, but they just have Dalvin Cook and they got that rookie receiver Justin Jefferson. And Kirk Cousins, he's on, he's off, he's on, he's off. So he was off last week, so I think he's got to be on this week. And the Bears, I mean, the Bears are an interesting team as well. They got Mitchell Trubisky back at the starting quarterback, but I don't know. I just think this game is going to be in Minnesota, so I got the Vikings.
Well, right now, Vikings are favored to win by 3 points, which is also, basically a field goal. And I'm going to go with the Bears on this one. Like I said, it's just one of those things where it's close, division game. Both of them trying to get a spot in. And the over and under is 46. I believe it's going to go over. There's going to be a lot of fighting. A lot of touchdowns going on and everything. So I think they're going to go over the 46, but I'm going to rock with the Bears this Sunday on this game.
All right. The next game we have is the Detroit Lions, 5-8 at the Tennessee Titans, 9-4. Tell you what, if I'm the Detroit Lions defense, and if you have had time to watch any of the game last week that the Titans played against Jacksonville, where Derrick Henry rushed for a season high 215 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. I mean, Derrick Henry gets going late in the year, which is scary as hell, And I got Tennessee on this one here. I mean, not I know that the Detroit Lions are playing. They fired their coach. Thank goodness, finally, Matt Patricia fired. So Darrell Bevel, who is the interim coach, he's like, I'll be damned. Why did y'all tell me Tennessee was on the schedule? So it's gonna be a long day for Detroit, I think.
Yeah, it is one of those games, MeanGene, right now. The Texans are favored to win by 11 points over the Lions. In 5-8 Lions and a 9-4 Titans, I'm gonna go with the Lions to cover that 11 points.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I'm gonna say they're gonna win, but I'm saying they'll cover that 11 points.
Well, especially with Matthew Stafford now. I mean, because he's a gunslinger. I mean, he'll throw that late touchdown in the fourth quarter that makes the game close, even though they lose. Yeah. But I agree.
That's why I say I would go with the money line as far as taking just saying the table would win. I wouldn't go with the points on that, but if I had to go with the points, I'd take the line to cover the 11 points. And I'm gonna say this game was going over 51.5.
Okay. Yeah, interesting game. That's gonna be kind of fun to watch that one to see. I mean, I just like to see how Derrick Henry just run over people. So that should be an interesting game. The next game we have is the Seattle Seahawks. They are traveling all the way to Washington to take on the Washington football team. Now, this one definitely could be impacted by the weather. Seattle is 9-4. Washington is 6-7. Washington is first place in the NFC East, and Seattle, I believe, is a wild card team now because I think the Rams are the first place team in the NFC West division. So, man, I tell you what, though, we've seen some inconsistencies with the Seattle Seahawks this year. I mean, some games, they beat a worthless Jets last week, 40-3. I mean, that's not giving you a whole lot of credit. Everybody doesn't beat the damn Jets this year, So that ain't saying much. But the Washington football team is man, all of a sudden they are just playing great football. Now, they don't have the best offense in the world because I think they lost their running back, Antonio Gibson. I think he's kind of injured, banged up there. Alex Smith was kind of banged up, so I don't know where they're going to get points from. But they got a hell of a defense, and a dude by the name of Chase Young that will eat you alive. Russell Wilson going to get to know Chase Young come Sunday. But I say in a close game, Seattle might pull it out because they got some damn good receivers.
Okay, yeah. Well, at this point, Seattle is favored to win by 6 points, and Washington is at home being the underdog. I'm gonna go with Washington plus the 6 to cover that 6 points. And I believe this game is at 44 and a half. I'm going to take the under in this game, MeanGene.
Okay, yeah. Well, you know why? Because that's good because they got two good defenses, so I can definitely see that. I can see them, that game going under. But that's going to be a fun one to watch too. A lot of great games on in the first window of the games on Saturday. I'm sorry, on Sunday. So this is a 1 o'clock game as well. I think it's the last 1 o'clock game, and then we're gonna get into the evening games. Yep, this is our first afternoon game on Sunday. This is gonna be a good one too. 4-8-1 Philadelphia Eagles at the 7-6 Arizona Cardinals. Now I just told you Arizona Cardinals are holding on to I think that 7th seed, 6th seed in the NFC, and the Bears and the Vikings licking their chops. And one of them teams going to get in there and they play early, so they probably going to be watching this game here. Arizona, they beat the Giants last week, and then the Eagles beat the Saints last week. But I'm just not going to put any money on the Philadelphia Eagles because you just don't know what you're going to get. But here's the thing, though. How about Jalen Hurts versus Kyler Murray? That's going to make it even interesting because Jalen Hurts gets to start. The $100 million quarterback, Carson Wentz, is on the bench. And so you're going to see a rookie going against Kyler Murray. This should be fun to watch from a quarterback standpoint.
And I've been looking at this game very closely. Right now, Arizona is favored to win by 7 points over the Eagles, and the over and under is 49.5. I'm taking the over in this game at 49.5, and I think that Arizona will cover that 7 point spread.
I do too. I think Arizona's going to win because I think Jalen Hurts gives them a chance, but at the same time, Arizona this is a high stakes game. If they want to get in that playoffs, they got to win. They can't afford to lose any more games. And I know they're in a tough division over there with the Rams in Seattle, but this ain't the Rams in Seattle. They should be able to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. So I like the Cardinals to cover. The next game, and speaking of the Rams, how about this, boy? The Rams are going to be at home against the New York Jets, the 0-13 Jets. Now, there's no way in hell you're going to convince me that the Jets are going to travel all the way from New York to L.A. and upset the Rams. I just don't see it.
Hey, I don't see it either, my brother. I'm looking at this, but that's why I'm telling you, G, it's some ridiculous points on this game here. Like I was telling you, I was looking. You probably ain't seeing it on your end what it is because you cover everything, but I'll be looking at the number. Right now, the 0-13, like you said, and the 9-4 Rams. Oh man. They have the Rams favored to win by 17.5.
Whoa! 17.5?
17.5. I looked at that last night.
Whoa!
Oh my God!
You gotta be kidding!
Man, I say that's basketball scores.
Yeah, that's college football.
College football scores, man.
Oh my goodness!
What is going on?
There's no way.
BG, it's a battle. That game there, I say that's probably one of the games I stay away from as far as betting on. But I'm gonna go. With numbers that high, it's at 43.5. I'm taking, if I go with anything, I'm taking the under 43.5. With numbers that high, man, you got to be saying that this team is really not going to score points at all. At this point, I think the Jets are pretty much more excited about having a perfect losing season.
Right.
Didn't even win one game. One game, really, just to say, man, one game, we can't even celebrate one game. So I'd rather say we had a perfect losing season. But for some reason, I don't think you just going to lay down to where these guys see the numbers just like we see the numbers. And for you to go out on the field and say, I'm just going to let these guys, even though I know they're probably a better team with a better record, but we're not just going to lay down for 17, almost 8. That's 18 points. what it's showing on record that the Rams got to go in and beat these guys by 18 points. It might go up to, because like I say, they play Sunday. So this might go up or it may go down, between now and Sunday. But at this point, I would just take the money line for the Rams to win the game and take the under 43.5 points. I don't know, man. That's a scary game.
Well,
I'll take the under. I wouldn't say, man, I'm taking 18 points just for a team like, man, they just not going to play at all.
Well, here, this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to predict a score of 21-3. That's 18 points on the nose. I'm going to predict the score for all you bettors out there, because when you hear 18, you're like, whoa. But 21-3 don't sound as bad, especially when you play when it's the Jets and the Rams are good for 3 touchdowns and the Jets are good for a field goal.
Exactly.
So
if you gotta look at the game the Jets played. What's the Raiders? Who was it? When they almost won.
Yeah. I remember.
So you think, man, come on now, you just can't be that bad of a team to let a team just come in and beat you by 18 points. Like, man, y'all just didn't care at all.
Well, look,
they already know they got first round. At this point, they definitely first round draft pick for everything. They can get them a quarterback, they can get running back, they can get everything. So, like you say, they tit for tat. If they win the game, now you're looking at the fact. I believe they're not gonna win the game. But then you're looking at, hey man, we fighting this thing up against Jacksonville. We want to be the ones to do all the picking. Let Jacksonville pick second,
But look at this. I know the Jets are, like you said, hey, they're gonna read those articles. They're gonna see that they're underdogs by 18. But hell, last week Seattle beat them by 37. So 18 is being respectful.
But it wasn't put out there that they were going to win by that many. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a difference when you don't know.
I like to, I like to know what that spread was last week for that Seattle game. I mean, I don't know if it was 18, but if any team it should have been 18 against, it would be, either Seattle or the Rams. I mean, they both have high-powered offenses, so. Poor Jets, man. They are really going to get that 0-16. I think they want to be crowned at the end of the year as the team that sucked the most in 2020.
Yeah. I think so too, MeanGene. But man, I'm kind of pulling this thing up.
Okay, while you doing that, I'm gonna introduce this next game here because this is the game that everyone is going to want to see. This could potentially be your Super Bowl 55 here. And that's the Kansas City Chiefs 12-1 at the New Orleans Saints 10-3. I mean, you got a perfect AFC versus NFC matchup here. I think Drew Brees might be playing. I haven't been able to confirm that as of yet. I mean, Taysom Hill has been doing great work in his absence, and the Saints have to be very careful on when and how they bring Drew Brees back. And against the Kansas City team, kind of scary because Kansas City's just tearing it up.
Yeah, well, it has been confirmed that Drew Brees will be playing Sunday. For all you Saints fans, your quarterback will be in the game. And Vegas has this game right now. The Chiefs are favored to win by 3 points.
Don't surprise me.
At home.
So, in the dome. At the dome. At the Superdome.
At home. In the dome.
Yeah, in the dome.
So my pick MeanGene, I'm going with the Saints plus that 3 points. And I think this game is going to go over the 15.5.
Wow, this is going to be a hell of a game to watch. It's 4:25 p.m. Eastern time Sunday. I mean, after you watch your morning games, If you're on the West Coast, this is your afternoon games. If you're on the East Coast, this is your late evening game. So, man, I like the Saints.
And we're gonna go back just a little bit right here at that last week game. Seahawks was favored to win over New York Jets by 16 points.
Oh wow!
You know they played, yeah. So
okay.
They beat them 40-3.
Wow!
So they doubled that point.
Oh wow! That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But, interesting.
But that's at this point, MeanGene, like I say, at a better point of view, I feel like I wouldn't try to do that back-to-back on that team. People are loading up in Vegas will get you to load up on a bet like this since they got beat that many points last week by 15, and they playing another team
I hear you.
back-to-back. I just think that the Jets will cover. That's why I say I would go with the money line on this game for picking the Rams in under 43. But see, and also the game on the over and under on that game was 49.5 points. They only went 43 out of that 49. It was only 43 points. So that went under. So right now, you're looking at the Jets and the Rams at 43.5. You know, I don't think that 17 is going to get covered. So the more I look at that last week game and look at how close look at what it was, I'm thinking I would probably go ahead and take the Jets and the points off. It's more on if you take the points or whatever. I think I would take them Jets in the 17 points and to go under 43. I just don't see that happening back to back.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I agree with you. I mean, it just depends on if the Jets want that number one pick that damn bad. But I mean, not to get humiliated the back-to-back weeks, you know.
I'm not saying the Jets are going to win now. I would take them to cover the points.
Yeah, I still like that. I would take those points too. 17 is a lot.
Take the points. I wouldn't take them to just say they're going to win right now.
Oh no.
Now, anytime I got to kind of juggle in my mind about the putting the money on this game, I basically just leave it alone. That's why all my betting people really might want to just leave that alone. You know, and go on to pick you something else that we're talking about. But, you know, this is one of them games. I want to watch it just to see it. And a lot of these games, a game like this is just one of them games to just see if you really going to lay down and get beat by 18 points like that with the knowing. I
just would like to be a fly on the wall in the locker room, getting the team prepared for a game like the Jets. I mean, imagine Adam Gase done went in there and gave 13 speeches. He done gave 13 different speeches encouraging and hyping up his players. And you would have to be a fly on the wall to wonder, what the hell is he saying? Is he saying, guys, it has been our mission and goal this year to get that number one pick. Go out there and play as lousy as you can.
Yeah. If you get to the goal line to cross it to make a touchdown, you better pull a Steve Carr. Pull you a Derek Carr and get some groin injury.
Oh boy! Hey man, that really looked kind of crazy there. Only in Vegas, right? Man. So if you're Frank Gore. What are you doing? We're not supposed to score. You know?
Exactly.
I know, man. I tell you, I don't know if there's any more Jets fans left. See, that's the good thing about being in a large city like New York, where you got two football teams. I mean, the Giants aren't doing any better, but at least they're not sucking as bad as the Jets. So I think the Giants now probably have more fans because of the Jets this year. I'm just saying, hey, how about the last game for Sunday? This is your Sunday night game. And speaking of the Giants, how about that? The Giants will host the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns who, you know, man, it just seems like some of their best games they play, they lose. I mean, I know that that sounds kind of weird, but the best games that they play, they lose. And I mean, that game, however you want to look at that 47-42 Baltimore game last week, man, you know, a lot of people say bad defenses, but I disagree. I just say that both quarterbacks just played their asses off, and it was like a chess match there, so to speak. And here the Browns are. I'm picking Cleveland to win, even though I'd love to see the Giants knock them off. But this is a scary game because New York don't have anything to play for.
That's what I'm talking about.
So
right now, as it stands, you got Cleveland Browns are favored to win by 6.5 points over the Giants, and the over under is 44. Me personally, MeanGene, like what you say, is scary, and it's one of those things that these teams have nothing to play for, or whatever. But the Giants still looking at in their division, there may be a chance, I hope to jump back in somewhere. I don't know, but at this point, I'm taking the Giants plus the 6.5 points and to go under 44 over the Browns.
Yeah, it'd be a devastating loss for Cleveland if they did lose. I mean, I still think they're in the playoffs, whether they lose the game or not. I mean, the AFC is pretty stacked. And, we'll talk about the next game here because it's a big AFC North game with the Steelers and the Bengals. But three teams could potentially come from the AFC North, which we didn't see that, early in the year. We just figured, okay, it was either going to be Pittsburgh or Baltimore. But that's an accomplishment to how tough the division is. And hey, if Joe Burrow had played the whole year, who knows how many more games the Bengals would have won. It'd been rough for them, especially starting with a rookie quarterback. But Cleveland, yeah, I mean, I just think morally after what they did last week, I think they're going to be gung ho in there and trying to get that win. But the Giants, and I made a mistake. The Giants are not really out of it yet.
That's why I said,
yeah,
they still got some hope.
Right, they're not. Yeah, they're not really out of it yet. Washington loses this week, and Giants win. Philly loses, and Dallas lose. I mean, hey, it still could be wide open over there. So that is your Sunday night game, and here we are, the final game of the show here, and it's the Pittsburgh Steelers 11-2 at the Cincinnati Bengals 2-10-1. The Bengals will be starting Brandon Allen at quarterback. He's been filling in for Joe Burrows. Pittsburgh Steelers lose to Buffalo last Sunday, 26-15. The Steelers have dropped 2 games in a row, and they now are looking up at KC for the home division record. And Jeff, let me tell you why losing 2 games this is where it put the Pittsburgh Steelers, because under the new playoff format this year, only the number 1 seeds will get a bye. Normally, it's a little bit different, but because they added 2 teams to the playoffs, one in the NFC, one in the AFC, only the number 1 seed. So, and the Steelers could still get that number 1 seed, if the Saints were to, find a way to beat KC and the Steelers went out, and I mean, then you gotta have a little tiebreaker thing going there. But that's how critical, that number 1 seed is. But and we both love the Steelers. So here's the thing, Pittsburgh definitely has to find a way to run the damn ball. They have to find a way to catch the ball. Just when we saw the running game was bad and the passing game was bad, then Big Ben has his worst game of the year. So the Steelers and the Bengals is another scary team not playing for anything. The game is going to be in Cincinnati, and I mean, I got Pittsburgh winning this game, but man, it needs to be dominant. And I know you're going to tell us what the spread is, but a 20, 30 point. I mean, they handled them pretty well the last time they played Cincinnati, but now they playing for their playoff lives. The last thing you want to do is be, playing crappy ball, getting ready for the playoffs. So I got the Steelers winning.
Well, right now, like I say, these numbers, man, the numbers on these games are, man, it's kind of eye-opening. Right now, Bengals have Pittsburgh favored to win by 13 points. And the open-under is 40.5. I'm going to go with the under 40.5. I would say Pittsburgh will win the game, but I wouldn't take them 13 points, man. It sounds good and saying, hey, Pittsburgh lost 2 games. Until they show me something different, that's my team, man, love for them. But at some point, man, you have to just accept reality, especially when it comes down to betting on game day. Anything can happen, and people would think that it's Cincinnati. Cincinnati, I've seen them come in and play teams that, that's good and kind of keep up with them or even win, Anything can happen. So I would go with the money line on Pittsburgh to win the game. I would go with the money line on the 13 points that they will cover. If they do, hey, man, more power to them. Hey, it's good. If we can come back and get our run game going, but right now, people are looking at us as, even though we're favorite, they're still looking at us like underdog. We never got the respect when we had the 11, before we even took a loss. We never got the respect that Pittsburgh should have gotten as a team and what we've been doing. So, it's only we get talked about more when we lose games than we did when we were winning the game. And at this point, Pittsburgh needs to, come back with a run game, a better run game, and a passing game. We got too many weapons on the offensive line, man, to not be putting up some serious numbers. And with, a good running back, that, hey, we got to show up and show out, man. And if 13, if what we do, cool, but I'm taking my team for the win. But I'm just kind of leery on them 13 points because I haven't seen them not cover the 13 points or more or less in games. So I would just go with Pittsburgh for the win and take the under 40.5 since that's all they figuring. Like you say, weather may have a lot to do with it for this to be a 40.5 game. So let's put it down there low. I would go, and a lot of people think, oh, no, man, they'll go higher as far as, more. And they may, but at this point, I think I would be safe to go with the under 40.5 and to take Pittsburgh on the money line to win. I wouldn't put it on the 13 points.
Well, the weather will be a factor because there's snow on the ground in Pittsburgh now. They will have snow on Saturday. I think like a 50% chance of snow. So they're gonna. And both of those teams are no stranger to crazy weather. So that won't matter. It still is. They're on the East Coast. They're in the North. So that won't matter. So that I would maybe impact the over under. I would think, and then I do think it would impact that 13 spread. It might be an ugly win, but they need a win.
Yeah.
They need a win in the worst way. So I'm going to say that they get back on track. Mike Tomlin just, hey, you at your worst, and I got to think because I've listened to Mike Tomlin talk to his team, and I mean, what he says in public, he says to his team, hey, we can't get any worse, guys. Ben, you didn't have a bad game. Receivers, offense, you didn't have a bad game. Defense, you didn't have a bad game. Mm-hmm. So now, what the hell are we gonna do today? Well, what are we gonna do Sunday? Let's just not think about playoffs and records and stuff. What about just your dignity and going out there and winning a damn game?
And you gotta see. Each week now it's starting to be a routine. Okay, Mike Tomlin, you gave all those data board speeches all the way up to 11 games, and now it's at that point to you go back to last year and make an excuse. We didn't have Big Ben last year, so we dealt with the excuse part of it. But now we got Big Ben back, and that's why I say, man, I roll with the team in the good and the bad. But at this point, I hate to see us get this close to the finish line and get to the playoffs. And then let, Cleveland's not that far behind to walk us down. 2 games, they only like 2 games behind us. So to get there and let Cleveland come in, man, that'll be a major blow to us, a shock to a lot of people to say, wow. So they got close to being just 1 game behind us last week with that loss against Baltimore.
Yeah.
So it's nothing like to say until they blow the whistle and say, hey, playoffs started and hey, y'all are number 1 in this division part of it, we got to keep this thing going, man. We got to, play some real stellar football and come together and say, hey, man, we got to cross the, dot the I's and T's, because this is some serious stuff now. It's mattering. This is one of our last division teams. We have Cincinnati that we playing on Monday night, and then Cleveland is our last game for the year. For the regular season year that we got to play. So we got to stay 2 games at least in front of Cleveland at this point, or all the games in front of Cleveland, to feel some type of security.
Yeah, Tomlin was asked this week by the media as far as, losing back-to-back games if the team is trending in the wrong direction, and he didn't make excuses, but he just stated the facts that, hey, the 2 games we lost were played in short weeks. This right here is the first full week of practice that the team has been able to have. And thankfully so, it's against an opponent like Cincinnati. Now, had Buffalo came in this week, who knows? I think the outcome might have been different, but I think they're going to be ready. I think he's feeling confident that the team has prepared well and just had that full. This has been the first week of normalcy for them in 3 weeks. So I like the Steelers in this game. So, Mr. Pitts.
And then you have to look at the fact, hey, after the Bengals, man, we still got to look at the coach. We got the coach.
Oh, yeah.
Get to
Cleveland, yeah.
So the coach is just not a push on the team. Like I say, a lot of our schedule being, thrown around and how it was, and all that, you kind of say, hey, man, nobody had a season like we had. Even though we were winning, we didn't have to play under a lot of different circumstances with the COVID counseling game, and then playing, 3 games within 12-day period,
Yeah.
Our bye week was taken from us early in the season.
Oh, yeah.
So we had to overcome a lot of obstacles to say, hey, we've only lost 2 games, man. That's an achievement within itself. So I really don't hold my head down in my team. I just hope my team, get it together. And people would like to see us say we could take Baltimore, and play Baltimore, but they forget we played Baltimore with Lamar Jackson.
Right.
We played all these teams at their house.
At their house, yeah.
We played at their house, and won all these games like that. So to say, hey, man, you talking about we haven't played nobody, we played our schedule.
Yeah. Absolutely right, man. Well, I tell you what. Let's see. Don't forget 2 Saturday games. Then get ready for Week 15, almost at the end of the season, man. And a couple of weeks here. Next Friday is Christmas, by the way. So that's kind of crazy. This month is moving by. So, Mr. Piggs, we'll see how we'll grade these papers next week. See how we did, and we'll holler at you, man. We'll see you. And thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you having Mr. Pitts on the show, man. I appreciate all your listeners out there, man, that the ones that have, profited off, some of the literature and the studying that I've given to you guys, man. And I hope that you profited. Like I say, I'm not perfect. I just do a lot of studying, and even when you study, sometimes you fail. But at the end of the day, hey, I've been posting on my page, man, a whole lot of wins this year for a couple of guys, and they posted. And so, man, I just want to say, hey, thank you, MeanGene, for letting your little brother come on there, supporting me, and your listeners listening to, a lot of the things that I bring to the table as far as the pitch form and all that, man. I just want to say, hey, happy holidays to all of you out there and your families and everything, and keep following Mr. Pitts. Mr. Pitts is gonna come out with something in 2021, man, real big. So, hey, y'all keep listening, and thank you, MeanGene, for having me on.
Hey, no problem, Jeff, man. Anytime, brother, man. Love you, boy. And we're gonna keep this thing rolling here, folks. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for this show, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Week 15 of the NFL here on the MeanGene Show here on iHeartRadio.